Hello, everyone. It's Frank, and today we're focusing on the Michigan Tanker Endorsement Test. Hauling liquids presents unique challenges, and this endorsement ensures you understand how to do it safely. Let's get through these essential questions. What is the primary hazard when driving a tank vehicle that is partially filled? Liquid surge, sloshing, can cause instability and affect handling. This uncontrolled movement can severely impact your control. All right, what's next? What is the most important thing to check for on all tank vehicles during a pre-trip inspection? Leaks from the tank, pipes, connections, and valves. Even small leaks can escalate into major hazards with liquids. Moving on. Why do tank vehicles have a high center of gravity? Much of the load's weight is carried high up off the road. This makes them inherently less stable than other vehicles. So, what's next? What is outage when loading a liquid tank? The empty space left in a tank to allow for liquid expansion due to temperature changes. Without outage, temperature changes could cause the tank to rupture. Next on our list, how does liquid surge typically affect the handling of a tank vehicle? It can push the vehicle forward when stopping, or pull it backward when accelerating, or push it sideways during turns. This force can be strong enough to significantly alter your control. Okay, what's after this? What type of tanks have bulkheads with holes that allow liquid to flow through, helping to control forward and back surge? Baffled tanks. Baffles reduce the severity of liquid movement within the tank. Let's move on. Why should you be extremely cautious when driving smoothbore tankers, especially when starting and stopping? They have no internal baffles to control liquid surge, making forward and back surge very strong. Smoothbore tanks require exceptionally smooth operation. What about this next one? When driving a tank vehicle, how should you take curves, ramps, and off ramps well below the posted speed limits? Their high center of gravity and liquid surge make rollovers a high risk at higher speeds. On to the next question. What is the danger of a tank vehicle rolling over? The high center of gravity combined with liquid surge makes rollovers a significant risk. Rollovers can lead to catastrophic spills and injuries. Moving forward, what is the safest way to brake a tank vehicle? Use gentle, steady pressure on the brakes. Smooth braking minimizes liquid surge. Let's consider the next one. When inspecting the intake, discharge, and cutoff valves on a tank vehicle, what should you ensure? They are in the correct position, closed, open, etc., before loading, unloading, or moving the vehicle. Mispositioned valves can lead to dangerous spills. And the next point, what specific hazard should you be aware of when hauling liquids in a partially filled tank? The uncontrolled movement of the liquid, known as surge. Partial loads are often more unstable due to surge. What's next? What should you do if you notice any leaks on a tank vehicle during your inspection or trip? Do not carry liquids or gases in a leaking tank. Report it and get it repaired. Never operate a leaking tank vehicle. Moving on to this. What equipment should you check for proper working order if your tank vehicle has them? Vapor recovery kits, grounding and bonding cables, emergency shutoff systems, and built-in fire extinguishers. These specialized components are critical for safety. All right, let's see. What is the danger of driving a tank vehicle with open valves or manhole covers? It is unsafe and illegal, leading to spills, fines, and potential accidents. All openings must be sealed during transport. What's after this? What three things determine how much liquid you can load into a tank? The amount the liquid will expand in transit, the weight of the liquid, and legal weight limits. Overloading or improper loading is illegal and dangerous. Next question. How can you help control liquid surge in a tank vehicle? Increase following distance, apply steady brake pressure, and brake well in advance. Smooth, gradual movements are key. Let's get to this one. What is the primary concern when loading the small tanks of a cargo tank equipped with bulkheads? Ensuring proper weight distribution to prevent too much weight on the front or rear of the vehicle. Uneven weight distribution impacts handling. Okay, what's next? What is the effect of driving a tank vehicle with a full load versus a partial load on its handling? A full load typically provides more stability than a partially filled tank due to less surge, but the overall weight increases stopping distance. Full loads are more stable, but heavier. Moving on, what is the Michigan CDL Tanker Endorsement N test passing score? 80%, 16 correct out of 20 questions. You need to get at least 16 questions right to pass. So, what's next? Why are unbaffled tanks often used for transporting food products like milk? Sanitation regulations often forbid the use of baffles due to cleaning difficulties. Smooth interiors are easier to clean and sterilize. Next on our list, what should you know about the outage needed for the liquids you carry? It is specific to the type of liquid and must be calculated to prevent overfilling and spillage. Each liquid has a unique expansion rate. Okay, what's after this? When driving a tank vehicle, why is it crucial to keep sufficient space cushion around your vehicle to allow for the effects of liquid surge on stopping and turning and to have room to react? You need extra space to manage the unique dynamics of a tank vehicle. Let's move on. What should you inspect on manhole covers and vents? Ensure covers have gaskets and close correctly and vents are clear. Properly sealed covers prevent spills and clear vents prevent pressure issues. What about this next one? What is the definition of a tank vehicle for which the N endorsement is required? A vehicle or combination of vehicles that is designed to transport liquid or gaseous materials within a tank or tanks having an individual rated capacity of more than 119 gallons and an aggregate rated capacity of 1,000 gallons or more. This defines the specific type of vehicle requiring the endorsement. On to the next question. What two reasons make special care necessary when driving tank vehicles? High center of gravity and liquid movement, surge. These are the fundamental challenges of tanker operation. Moving forward, what is the primary concern when stopping a tank vehicle with a partially filled tank? The forward surge of the liquid can push the vehicle, extending stopping distance. This can significantly increase the distance needed to stop safely. Let's consider the next one. What is the best strategy for avoiding a rollover with a tank vehicle? Slow down significantly before curves and turns, and avoid sudden steering movements. Smooth, controlled inputs are vital to prevent rollovers. And the next point. What is the key to minimizing the effect of liquid surge during acceleration? Apply power smoothly and gradually. Smooth acceleration helps keep the liquid stable. What's next? What type of vehicles are commonly referred to as smooth bore? Tanks? Tanks that transport food products where sanitation is a major concern. Their smooth interior makes them easy to clean. Moving on to this. What kind of inspections are unique to tank vehicles compared to other CMVs? Checking for leaks, proper valve positions, and specialized equipment like vapor recovery. These checks address the specific risks of liquid transport. All right, let's see. When should you check your vehicle's operator manual for specific inspection procedures? To ensure you know how to inspect your specific tank vehicle as types and sizes vary, always refer to the manufacturer's guidelines. What's after this? What happens to liquid inside a tank when the vehicle suddenly stops? It surges forward with significant force. This forward momentum can push your vehicle. Next question. What happens to liquid inside a tank when the vehicle suddenly accelerates? It surges backward, pushing against the rear of the tank. This backward force can affect traction and stability. Let's get to this one. What can happen if you apply sudden braking or steering while driving a partially filled tank? It can cause the vehicle to become unstable and potentially roll over. Sudden movements are a major cause of tanker accidents. Okay, what's next? What is the main characteristic of baffled tanks that helps with handling? The baffles reduce the effect of forward and back liquid surge. They provide internal resistance to liquid movement. Moving on. What should you confirm about the vents on a tank vehicle's manhole covers? That they are clear and working correctly to pressure buildup or vacuum. Proper ventilation prevents dangerous pressure imbalances. So what's next? What kind of materials do tank vehicles transport necessitating the N endorsement? Liquids or liquefied gases in bulk, regardless of whether they are hazardous or not. The N endorsement is for the tank type, not necessarily the materials hazard class. Next on our list, what is the biggest danger associated with the high center of gravity of a tank vehicle? Rollover. This is the most common and serious type of tanker accident. Okay, what's after this? Why is it dangerous to drive a tank vehicle around curves at speeds posted for cars? Tankers have a higher center of gravity and liquid surge, making them prone to rollover at such speeds. Always reduce speed significantly for curves. Let's move on. What action should you take if you must drive on a slippery road with a tank vehicle? Reduce your speed significantly and increase your following distance. Slippery conditions amplify the effects of liquid surge. What about this next one? What is the most critical safety advice for driving a tank vehicle to prevent accidents? Drive cautiously, anticipate liquid movement, and manage speed and space. Predictability and smooth operation are key. On to the next question. When inspecting pipes, connections, and hoses on a tank vehicle, what should you primarily look for? Leaks, especially around joints and connections. Integrity of the system is paramount to prevent spills. Moving forward, what must always be done with the tank and vehicle before starting a trip? All components must be securely latched and free from leaks. Everything must be tight and secure. Let's consider the next one. What is the Michigan CDL Tanker Endorsement Test primarily designed to evaluate? Your knowledge of safely transporting liquid or gaseous materials in bulk. It ensures you understand the unique challenges. And the next point, what is the recommended strategy for a tanker driver when approaching a railroad crossing? Slow down, be prepared to stop, and ensure there is enough space on the other side of the tracks. Never get stuck on the tracks. What's next? What is the danger of side-to-side surge in a partially filled, baffled tank? It can still occur and contribute to a rollover, even with baffles. Baffles primarily reduce front-to-back surge, not side-to-side. Moving on to this, what should you never do regarding the loading or unloading of a tank vehicle? Leave the vehicle unattended with open valves or during a transfer. Always supervise these operations closely. All right, let's see. What is the importance of understanding the specific characteristics of the liquid you are hauling? Different liquids have different densities, expansion rates, and hazard properties affecting loading and handling. Know your cargo. What's after this? What type of endorsement is required to drive a tank vehicle carrying hazardous materials? Both the tanker N and hazardous materials H endorsements, usually designated as an X endorsement. If it's both a tank and hazardous, you need both. Next question. How does the weight of liquid cargo affect braking distance for a tank vehicle? Heavier loads require longer braking distances. More weight means more momentum to stop. Let's get to this one. What is a baffle in a tank vehicle? A partial wall or divider inside the tank designed to reduce liquid surge. They act as internal barriers to slow fluid movement. Okay, what's next? What should you know about the different types of tank vehicles, e.g., smoothbore, baffled? They have different handling characteristics due to how they manage liquid surge. Knowing the type helps you adjust your driving. Moving on, what is the primary safety measure to take before loading or unloading a tank vehicle? Set the parking brake and chock the wheels. This prevents accidental movement during transfer. So what's next? What is the relationship between Michigan's CDL manual and the tanker endorsement test? The test questions are based directly on the information found in Section 8 Tank Vehicles of the manual. The manual is your authoritative study guide. And that concludes our review for the Michigan Tanker Endorsement Test. This endorsement is all about specialized knowledge for a specialized vehicle. Master these concepts, and you'll be well on your way to adding the N to your CDL. Drive safe. Hello, everyone. It's Frank, and